So a fun story for me is back in 2016, a media company asked me to be DP for an interview with Hillary Clinton when she was in the primary, and it was in Iowa before the first primary, and she was speaking at an Iowa university, and we were given a hard 15 and flown in from New York with a small team with our own gear. Iowa is a gear desert, so you have to bring your own in, right? Like your cameras, your lighting. That's, what you have is what you get. Like bring.
Kind of also just a desert as well.
Well, I mean, it's more corn.
Corn desert.
Yeah, I mean, corn desert. But anyway, so we're flying into Boise to then do a puddle jumper to Cedar Rapids. And on that puddle jumper, everybody involved in the plane is media. And I remember, you never want to check your camera or your lenses in, because those are the things that are the most important for your shoot. And I got into an argument because the puddle jumpers overheads could not take all of our carry-on stuff, and they forced. I was basically given Sophie's choice of, do you check the camera bodies or the lenses? We had 3 cameras and 3 lenses. I chose the lenses. When we landed, worst case scenario happened. The lenses were lost. We had the bodies and no lenses. And I lined up in the queue with other people for lost luggage. There were other people on the same plane with lost luggage. And another was another interview group, this time from Hillary's own campaign. They had lost luggage. And so now you're making friends with people who lost luggage. What'd you lose? I lost this. I lost my lenses. Well, they happen to have lenses that fit us. And they were impressed because I was bringing a Joker and a Chimera, and I had a daylight light. I found out that their interview time was 30 minutes before our interview time, and they were impressed that we had a light and we had a sound guy with a mixer, and they were just doing onboard shotgun and no light. And I was like, first off, while we're waiting, they get the miracle that we wanted and we didn't get. Their luggage is found. And so they're like, okay, see you guys. Our luggage was not found. And so I made a deal with them. I made this I was like all shuckster, like, hey. So you said you liked our light and our sound guy. What if I can give you our sound guy and our light, and then when it's our turn, we borrow your lenses? Sound guy was so upset. He's like, you should have talked to me first. That's me rolling on 2 jobs. I'm like, come on, you're already there, dude. You're already there. It's just a quick 15. Just give him a card. And he eventually complied. But so now I have, through another production company, I have lenses I'm supposed to borrow that'll fit our camera. So I'm like, oh, problem solved. Oh, we're done. This is going to be easy tomorrow. We wake up, we go to set, and that's when we discovered that our location that they gave us was extremely problematic. It was, it was in the summer, and it's extremely bright. The sun was out that day without a single cloud in the sky. And instead of an interior location, like some of the interviews, they gave us an exterior, which was in the Rose Garden, which had this big trellis operation that was wood with slats and roses growing over. And if you were underneath it, it looked totally 40s film noir with giant diagonal shadows across your face. And, in New York, what would you do? Easy. You would rent a 20 by. And you would sail a 20 by diffusion frame over it. But here we are in Gear Desertville. And so there's no film equipment you could use. And so the producer freaking out. She's like, Smokey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I'm like, all right, that's a PA. Is he mine? Can I take him? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I need you to go to Bed Bath & Beyond. I need you to buy a 4-step ladder, a staple gun, and 3 different types of shower curtains with different opacities. I need you to get really white shower curtains, semi-white shower curtains, and a really light, clear shower curtain. He's like, how many? I'm like, 30 of each.
30 of each?
The landscape of the trellis was, I would say, 15 feet by 30 feet. And so in the distance, if I wanted to create I would need that kind of coverage.
Yeah.
Did he think you were absolutely crazy for asking that?
Yeah, no one understood what the hell I was talking about. And they're like, Smokey, explain. I'm like, we don't have time to explain.
Just do
it. So I'm feeling pretty confident about myself. Like, oh man, I'm making deals. Like I traded the flesh of my sound guy and this light to get these lenses. And I'm pretty happy with myself. And so then I go to break out the Joker, and I look at the power supply, and it's lacking its IEC cable. Everything's there but the IEC cable, or some would say OSHA cable, which you guys are all familiar with it. It's like it's a regular standard
cable.
Edison that you plug into a wall, and on the other side, it's like a recessed 3-prong cable that fits most appliances like printers, fax machines, PlayStation. You can find one. So
It's like the long one, not like the rectangular one.
yeah, they're somewhat somewhat universal for powering devices. People just thought that it would be a good idea to make kind of a it's called an IEC cable. Everybody, IEC. So anyway, the more you know.
Word of the day. Yeah.
International Electronics Connector.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, word.
IEC brought to you by Shoveltown Brewery.
I didn't know what it stood for. So that's nice. That's nice to know. So to give you a little bit more backstory, when you're going into a presidential event like this, we were warned that there were already 2 bomb threats, and so you're going through Secret Service security. There's bomb dogs on your gear. You get badges that are color coded that let you into certain dimensions of a security perimeter, and mine was only on the outskirt perimeter, and also, they're so focused on where Secretary Clinton is that, like, if you're setting up remote for an interview, you have no representatives to say, hey, I need some help. Like, there's no one to be like, explain your situation. And so the producer's like, Smokey, what are we going to do? I'm like, don't worry, I got this. So I snuck away. I snuck into the building, and, they had closed the university for the day. So I found a professor's office that had the door open. I tried several office doors before I found the one that was open. And then I saw one of those big stand-up printers in the corner. I pull it out into the center of the room, and I made a yelp noise. I have to admit, I made a, like when I saw it had an IEC. I was like, bingo! And that's the bingo where the door opened, and there was a Secret Service guy who's like, excuse me, sir, who are you? Where's your clearance? You're green. This is orange clearance. I'm like, oh, hey. So they took me to this back room where there were 4 Secret Service guys, and they started interrogating me. And I'm holding the cable like this in my hand, like, Mike.
What's funny about this, though, is meanwhile, we all know that, like, they don't know this, but you're like, I've been through this before.
Peruvian military.
There was no 50 caliber pointed at me.
Yeah, you're like, this is easy.
You were more at home in this
So
experience.
what's funny was, so picture this. I'm pitching the 4 dudes that have me detained, trying to explain, but they didn't want to hear it. They just kept saying, please stop talking. Please, no, we don't want to hear it. Please stop talking. They were waiting for their boss. They had gone up the line. Hillary Clinton's head of security comes in, and when he comes in, then there are 3 of them leave, and it's like me and then the guy who found me. So the boss and the guy who found me, and then he starts interrogating me. He's like, let me see your credentials. Let me see your license. He's running. I remember he took my driver's license, and he's walking and talking on his cell phone and giving all the information on my license to someone on the phone, waiting for like a security check to come back on me. And I was like, and I'm doing the full story just like I am now, explaining, well, I was on the plane. I had the lenses. I didn't want to give the lenses away. And then I found Hillary's Clinton people. You could check with them. They have a hard 15 and 11. Ours is 11:30. And I bargained. The sound guy didn't want to do it. Hated to do it, but I talked him into it. And then I found out that the light that they needed in order to get the lens, I needed to give them the light. And then I just realized it was like probably on a print. And he's like, I don't have time for this. And then he leaves. He just said, I don't have time for this, and he leaves. And he's like, watch him, to the guy who found me. And so I pitch it to the guy who found me, and the guy who found me wouldn't have it at all. He just was like, I'm not. He goes, at one point, I think I remember, he's like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And so we just sat there in silence for a while. And the big break in my day happened when that guy needed to be relieved to use the bathroom. And a new guy came in that hasn't been there for anything. Entered the story again, and they're like, "Oh, so then my lenses, the sound guy wouldn't want to do it, and then I got on the IEC cable, and they're going to be shooting in like 10 minutes, and also they confiscated my phone at this point. I forgot to mention that my phone was confiscated, so I couldn't contact the producers or anything. I couldn't contact the producers or anything, and so the new guy bought it. And he goes, get out of here, do your thing, and I hope you're not telling me any lies. And I'm like, I love you, I love you, I love you. Bye, bye, bye. I'm kissing. And like I run out the door, waving the IEC cable. And like,
did you get your phone back, or did you just leave it?
No. At this point, I don't have my phone back. So it's like I run, and I make it to the producers, and I find the light and the sound guy, and is like, wait, I thought you said I was supposed to do another interview in like 10. I'm like, yes, you are. I know where they are. I'm the only one that does. And here's the light. I got the cable. And the producer's like, Smokey, I need to ask you. I'm like, I can't talk now. And at that point, I looked over at the trellis, and the PA was doing great. I was able, before I left, to choose the flavor of shower curtain. I went Mama Bear, like a 250, and he's staple gunning it all over this thing without asking. We hadn't talked to locations, by the way. No locations at this point, because everyone's too busy. And so I go to the other set. I set up their light, give them the sound guy, and they do their 15. It was great. And then I pull away with the light, sound dude, and the lenses, the coveted lenses. I come back, and the trellis is finished. It looks beautiful. Soft light inside, not a shadow in sight. Everything's diffused, glowing. And at that point, we had 5 minutes. The producer gives me a high five, and then we see Secretary Clinton and her team coming over the hill, and she's walking with 10 people. And she's got like hair and makeup and, wardrobe and her handler and the producers of the event and mostly women, very powerful women. And they come over the hill and they see this god-awful looking thing that looks so out of place, like so weird. It looked like a white monolith from 2001, where you're supposed to go under here. And she's like, good gracious, what is this? And so I'm introduced to her and I'm like, oh, hi, yeah, Secretary Clinton. Yeah, sorry, they kind of put us in a bad spot for lighting, and in a regular market, I would have just rented some film gear to handle this, but here I could only think of shower curtains. And she turns to the team, pats me on the back, and she goes, that's the kind of ingenuity this country needs.
Oh!
And, I'm sure she says that to everybody, but she said it to me that day. And she sits down and she looks great. She's a beautiful woman, and like the lighting was nice on her. But then again, because of this long story, because I had to tell her the story about getting there, her hair and makeup and her wardrobe people heard that. I think that they were kind of egged on that when they looked at the monitor, they were like, oh, Secretary Clinton, you never look so beautiful. This is amazing. Like they fed into the story. So now they're giving her this is the best I've ever seen, that kind of stuff. And so we start rolling and everything's really good and the interviewer is great and we're getting great stuff. And all of a sudden I feel this hand on my back while I'm operating a camera. I'm operating Hillary's medium. And I feel his hand on my back and I look up and it's the head of Secret Service. He's now showed up and he gives me a thumbs up and a wink and he hands me my cell phone back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Forget about Shittyrig. That was like shitty experience, and you fucking pulled it off.
Luckily, it wasn't like the grab that like puts you to sleep while you're operating.
Well, that the whole company found out about the whole experience of this, and I was given much praise. And then 4 years later, in 2020, I was asked again. They wanted me to do the primary interviews again, and I interviewed every single Democratic primary candidate as a DP because of showing how hard you're going to push to get it done.
Did you ever get a photo of that setup?
Yeah.
Do you have,
is that something you can I don't have a photo of the setup, but I have a photo of Hillary and I with the production team. And then it was crazy. 8 months later, there was a point where Planned Parenthood gave their endorsement for the election in New Hampshire at the head of Planned Parenthood. And I was asked back. And when I set up that interview between Hillary and the head of Planned Parenthood, Hillary turns and goes, oh, hey, Smokey, it's nice to see you. I was like, she knew me by name.
Oh, my God.
She knew me by name.
Man, I mean, I gotta say though, there's like I don't know anyone else named Smokey, so
True.
It's your credit. Like you picked the perfect name.
The way you're describing what you created for her to walk into was probably pretty jarring.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a shitty rig. It was a shitty rig, sure. Super shitty rig.
Yeah, super shitty.
I kind of imagine that like Secret Service was like 30 yards away with like snipers like watching you as like Hillary
That was
like,
what I thought was gonna happen. I was like the Secret Service guy was just gonna take you away.
You know, it's funny. On that second event, we had a lot of Secret Service too, because it was a big terrorist target of having both all of the heads of Planned Parenthood and Hillary Clinton in one room. The security was also extremely tight, and I was coming in from that win 6 months earlier, and I was being a little blasé of like, oh, whatever, I'm fine. Secret Service loves me. They give me my phone back, and then like, I definitely got hip checked a couple times. Like, stay in your lane, buddy.
From that first shoot, I just imagine Smokey running with the cable across the field, and they're just watching him. Like,
He's got the cable.
I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I don't know anything.
yeah, they're just like, just say the word, we take them out. It's like, I got the cable.
I bet you like that was like that guy letting you go was like they had a sniper on you the whole time.
Watch that guy.
Sir, I have a shot, but the lighting's too beautiful.
Hold on.
Blinded by the lights.
Sir, she's never looked this good, sir.